Hello, hello. Today is a special day. This is extra special for me because I have known Maria forever. We are I won't say we're old because I think we're rocking it still, but we did graduate college before the 2000s came. So if you guys can do math, we are living life in totally different ways since then. We were roommates, we were teammates, we were basically nerd athletes. Is that fair, or more athlete nerds? Or how would you
But I
describe?
mean, it varied.
And she's a fellow Capricorn, and she's given us all the motivation to grow our hair and our grays out as long as we can. Look at that. So I want to give a little bit of background on Maria before she shares more about what's going on. So we were in the Ivy League together, and she has worked there for a long time and now is shifting over to more of a healing circle. She spent 25 years between high performance strategy and spiritual wellness. And at Dartmouth, she got a degree in psychology, and she was a former D1 volleyball coach. So she knows that true leadership is a nervous system game. I know when we played together, when we were all freaking out, it's like, well, what does Maria think? So she's here to help us align with who we are and how we lead as a wellness practitioner and a guide. So she does Reiki, meditation, physical wellness, success coaching, and leadership development into an integrated practice. So I am so excited to hear, because she's making a big transition now. And I know that it's going to be beautiful. So, Maria, thank you for being here. I love you so much.
I love you so much. This is like such a treat. And it is really an honor and a privilege to be here, Dan, right at this time in our lives doing this work, when this really has been our path along, whether we knew it or not. It was going to happen.
Well, why don't you capture some of the things that I didn't share
Mm,
a lot about? Like, what is this transition for you? You
yeah.
have had a lot of changes. That's a big change from going to coaching
Mhm.
to wellness, or maybe it isn't, because there's a lot of
Yeah.
that involved in being a leader of a team.
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, the biggest change is operating within institutions of higher education for so many years. So it's been 25 years. Part of it started in collegiate athletics, and that was very much a part of my identity, was being an athlete and continue. And I was talking to my family. I was like, I've been coaching volleyball since I was 15. That is insane. I
Wow.
know. And coaching like little ones, right? So um and to go back to thinking about these institutions and thinking about coaching within institutions and leading teams through admissions and enrollment, which is really the revenue driver of most institutions, at some point, I was feeling that there was a loss of like a human-centered approach,
Mhm.
and feeling that, my work was focused primarily on whatever needs to be done to have like the best quality of class and also meet all of the enrollment targets. And while as an athlete, you thrive in pressure situations and also meeting goals and overachieving those, when there are less resources and there's less support and you're not able to really regulate your nervous system in a way that's helpful for the greater good, it can really do some damage. So I found that over the past few years, there was a huge feeling of burnout and I'm using this word not lightly, but feeling like a little bit in misery, right? Like trying to achieve something that just wasn't really in alignment.
Mhm.
And so since then, I really believe that God has a plan. However you imagine God has a plan. And so I've been given this gift of time and space. And within that, I've been able to hear and listen to, my own guidance, and have been hearing that I'm meant to do this work and that I've always been meant to do this work. And now I am ready to do it. And so that feels super affirming to me. And so I'm so grateful for the practice that I've had both in athletics and in higher education and at the corporate level, and to all of the people who have ever been a part of that swirl or that journey, because I wouldn't be here now without those folks.
feels like the path was perfectly laid for you. I know that spirit says that everything will happen at just the right time. So every one of those, like maybe detours or things that didn't quite align, still
Yeah.
taught you something. It just feels like
Oh.
I can feel your calm. I think maybe it's because I'm kind of
Mhm.
a spaz. And how is that? That we're both Capricorns and you're like so grounding right now and you're going through this exciting change. Um, so could we just go back in time a
Mhm.
little bit?
Yeah.
Because so I only started my spiritual awakening a year ago. And so that gave us an opportunity to learn more about each other, right? We were
Mhm.
roommates. We played volleyball for 4 years together. We stayed after college. Like you would think that I would have dug deeper in that with you, but it was like my space was not like ready for that. And I think you were taking a little break from it too. So but you have had this since you were born, right? So I would love to just hear about that whole path for you
Mhm.
and just get caught up about, when we met, the overlap. It felt like neither one of us was kind of in that space that we are right
Mhm.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Um, I'm learning now how much more this is a part of the legacy of my family, especially
Mhm.
when thinking about, and what I mean this, I mean some gifts that have come through while I've been at home. I'm learning that my uncle has the gift of sight for people who have passed before, and he's been able to see he's seen the threshold. So I didn't know that before. So I'm learning these things now, and
Yeah.
these are as a child, always knowing that there were presence around me, didn't understand how or why that was, or how to communicate, and also being quite frightened about hearing voices or feeling or sensing, having dreams that felt very disruptive.
Yeah.
And what I did at that point in my life, because I didn't know anything else, I prayed. I prayed the rosary. Can you imagine like an 8-year-old kid just like incessantly praying the rosary just to go to sleep at night? Like,
Oh, poor
Jesus, please be with me. So,
Aw.
yeah. So, I mean, that's really what it was just a lot of prayer and recognizing that there were really beautiful light beings that were present for me during those times and that were there. And so a lot of this was spirit led. I'm going to fast forward through some of those experiences and meet you when we were living together or even being
Mhm.
in New Hampshire at Dartmouth together. I found that and this comes after shortly after a relative of mine had passed who was very close to me. So I was in the grieving process and really able to feel him come through dreams, feel his presence around me. And there was a broad opening during that time. And it was as if the trees were talking to me, the animals were talking to me. And
Uh-huh.
I, frankly, going to a school like Dartmouth,
Yeah.
being a college athlete, working 3 work study jobs just to kind of persist and trying to meet the academic rigor, I couldn't be in that space. So there was a time, I think my senior year, where I just said, "Listen, I can hear all the things, but I do not want it or do not need it right now. I just need to
Mhm.
focus on what's in front of me." And so I really did shut down, and by the time that we were living together, I really was like, "I don't wanna know anything, I don't wanna see anything, I just wanna
Mhm.
be in peace." And so I think that probably meant that, even if there was an opportunity for us to talk about it, we there was no way because it was so, cloistered, right? It was put aside.
Yeah, so I can't imagine being a little kiddo, I was like, "Oh, little Maria, somebody give her a blankie and tell her that the Oogies aren't gonna get her,"
I know. Yeah.
You just did the best you could with, like, being a
Mhm.
little light soul,
Mhm.
and, so that whole fast forward there, it seems like you also figured out when in that period of time because there was also quite some traumatizing
Oh.
things happened with the
Mhm.
visuals, right? And
Yes.
still hadn't quite had the
Mhm.
vocabulary to like break those down and understand them in the way that you can now. That is so overwhelming. So when did it start to like reemerge or that you started to let that back in or out?
Mhm.
Was there an incident or just kind of gradually come back?
Yeah. I would say that after I left Well, I think that's a great question, Daniel. Let me really think about when it kind of came back on. I when I returned as a coach, I
Mhm.
think that's when I was able to get a little bit more grounded. And I was working with a therapist at the time, and I was taking classes in mindfulness meditation. I had
Mhm.
been gifted transcendental meditation. And so I was really kind of in a practice of self-care, I think is what that was. And I think through those practices, that's when I was able to kind of be a little bit more mindful. But when it comes to the visuals and actually being present for it was when I was here in New Mexico. So I had gone
Mhm.
through kind of a personal, hardship, shortly after I think my master's in coaching at the collegiate level, moved out to the Bay Area, um, and I moved back home. And it was when I was home that everything started kind of weaving itself back together and strengthening, I think, the foundation of what had been built prior.
Mhm.
And I had been working with practitioners in different ways that were helping me to affirm some of those, things that I didn't really quite have words for.
Mhm.
When I was in New Mexico, and I think I've shared this with you, I had a huge vision of Archangel Michael.
Oh, yes.
And
Mhm.
I was literally driving, down the road, and out of the blue, I see this opaque figure that is larger than life, larger than the town that I'm living in, like a giant form,
Uh-huh.
very opaque like a cloud, which sounds like I'm having a schizophrenic break. And so I see this, and the amount of peace and safety that I feel, not only for myself, but for all of humankind and the world and the earth and kind of the greater cosmos, was so immense. I pulled over and just kind of sat there witnessing this sight. And I think it was that I had to explore a little bit more. Archangel Michael did come back in a setting at a community acupuncture clinic, and I don't know if it's okay to tell the story
Oh,
to
why
the
wouldn't
extent
it
that I
be
am.
okay? I wanna hear it.
You wanna hear it? Okay. So, and this is bringing kind of like what I'm thinking is a schizophrenic break into the 3D, essentially.
Yeah.
So I'm volunteering at a community acupuncture clinic. This woman comes in with her son. Her son, his eyes are kind of out to lunch. She sits down with me and gives me a little bit about his history. And immediately I visualize his whole entire life,
Mhm.
issues that are going on that are quite traumatic for him. And then I see this huge, dark mass around him. And out of my mouth just falls, I see the dark thing. And she starts immediately crying. And she says, "We don't know what it is, but it's bothering our whole family."
Oh,
And at that point, I told her, "I don't know if acupuncture is going to work for this, but we'll see." I was like, "Oh, this seems,
good to think
um,
professional.
yeah." I was like, "Well, I don't." Um, yeah. So at that point, I just had this experience with Archangel Michael, and I kind of just go inward to pray and say, "What needs to happen here? I don't know why I'm seeing this. This is really different for me." And so Archangel Michael appears and goes and sits down next to the woman and the son. And so then I'm called to go and sit in that place. And when I sit there, words fall out of my mouth again that are really about, you know, do you know the safety that you're in? Are you aware of Jesus and Archangel Michael, and that you can call on them on at any time whenever you feel this negativity around you? And as these words are kind of falling out, I literally see the dark thing shrink to the size of a pin, and the young boy looks at me and he goes, "I think that's enough."
Wow.
So I'm at that point going back thinking, all right, I go sit down. The acupuncture calls them in. I've talked to the acupuncturist about the spiritual nature of this case. Um, I'm back in the office. I don't know what the dark thing is, but I definitely don't want any heebie-jeebies around me. So I
Yeah.
say a little prayer, and I'm shown that I should draw the layout of the space and just say a little prayer around it.
Yep.
And as soon as I'm done with the prayer, the front door opens to the clinic. A big whoosh of air goes all the way through the clinic. And then that is it. Well, it turns out that the acupuncturist had opened the back door, so it created a vacuum. So there was a scientific reason for that. But I was like, the timing is impeccable here. What is happening? So to
It
answer your
was
question, I think it was that time that
Okay.
kind of blew everything open again. And yeah, it's been like that since.
Well, and what a gift for both of you. You
Mhm.
essentially were able to like give that little Maria that had nobody to like help her explain things. Like you stepped
Aw,
in for that person and at the exact right time. And
yeah,
it sounds like you also learned how to make boundaries there too. Because I didn't know that oogies can't get you. Like if you say, "Oh, you need to leave," they have to.
they have
So
to.
yeah, and so and then calling in more light in whatever way you see that is
Mhm.
yeah, you can just tell your
Yeah.
guys like, "No, thanks. I don't want anything lower vibration than me. Just keep it away." And
Yeah,
they do.
they do. It's
And
amazing.
you just, like, figured that out. That is there's a lot of faith there. And, so first of all, not a schizophrenic break.
Yeah.
I'm very much like, to me, this is totally normal, like what you're saying.
Yeah.
At this point, this is not there's no weirdness here at
Yeah.
all, and, allowing you to take your steps back into, like, learning about this
Mhm.
process, I mean, it's just a gift, right?
Yeah, it
You're
feels
able
like
to
that.
flip it. So, where are you now in terms of? Because I know it was kind of traumatizing at first, and
Mhm.
then you found some footing, and then now you're gonna start like, we're gonna tell a story about when we reconnected and went to Lilydale, which is very spiritual. And we're like, okay, here's the plan. We're gonna dress like Stevie Nicks and own this crystal shop, okay? And that's just what we're gonna do. Our husbands will just have to, or my husband will have to like find a little, we're gonna find this little house and everybody will just have to deal, right?
It's gonna be by a lake, of course.
Yes, there needs to be water.
Water.
So we haven't exactly taken that step yet. However, we're getting kind of close. Because now I have a spiritual business and I'm going to leave my job,
Yeah.
and you're having a job transition. So can you like fast forward into what you see this as being? Because it's cool. It's
Oh,
like you're marrying everything
yeah.
that you've done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so beautiful, Dana, just to be here with you and to have these conversations, to be where we're at. So I just wanna, like, keep doubling in on that. I Yeah, it's interesting. So I wanna give some props to a friend of mine, Nicole, who is an acupuncturist, and
Mhm.
she introduced me to, a woman who teaches shamanic work
Mhm.
and shamanic healing, and this was last July, and truly, she has given structure and also language around some of the work that has been traumatizing and helped to
Mhm.
kind of see the light in it, which
Mhm.
is really beautiful. So I imagine like the work that I'll be doing is going to be both what I'm calling lifestyle medicine. It is a term out there. It's basically like creating habits along through 6 different pillars to
Mhm.
help people step into more physical and just physical wellness, and then also adding a component of spiritual wellness to that. And
Mhm.
so, utilizing some of the practices from Reiki that I've learned from coaching, that I've learned from, being a physical trainer of sorts, and then also some of the shamanic healing, which involves so much work. So it's like it can be divination, it can be guided practices to meet your spirit guides. It can be spiritual healing around enmeshments and cords that are connected that are not serving. There's a term called psychopomp, which is really
Mhm.
mediumship work and helping others to cross over, understanding who your allies are, in what is called Middle Earth, which is like the land and the trees and kind of what is in your same world, but also understanding who is with you at the underworld and then, and then the world above as well. So there's so much practice within that. I do still feel like a baby at this in many ways, and so I'm learning about all of these terms and ways in which to work with spiritual wellness. But there is a diagnostic part of it to better understand how to move forward with clients.
Mhm.
And then there's also kind of, it is the Reiki and it's the stars, and being a channel through to create the healing, as you know. So that's how I see it. So I do see individual practice. I see a little bit of group practice. I would really also love to work with young athletes who are within club systems or AAU systems, to help them better understand team dynamics, how to better communicate with coaches and other players. And I would like to work with those coaches and those organizations to make sure that, there is some wellness and some boundaries that are happening there, because there's so much that can take place in a young person's journey with a sport that they love, and some people opt out so early, and it's sometimes at a detriment to their own wellness throughout the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and volleyball has changed a lot since we were there. I mean, we were the first recruited class there, so we got
Yeah.
lucky, right? Like in
Oh,
terms
yeah.
of we were all new, we all could play because we were the
Mhm.
first official class. And they didn't have this stuff back then, right? Like I know people who are volleyball coaches like from our program, so they just graduated and they're talking about, no, I'm going to have a meeting with them about their, mental health and all of these
Mhm.
strategies for maintaining team dynamics and stuff. And I think we all just loved each other so much that we just all overcompensated and we were fine. Yeah, like I didn't know, oh, I could take care of my mind and my body too. And they had all those weird training plans that we were on, like eat a sack of potatoes or whatever. And I was
I
like,
know. I was
yeah,
like, how many
right.
sandwiches from Subway did we have? That's what I wonder. I cannot even have a turkey sandwich anymore. It's awful.
So yeah, what a gift that you're like able, it's like very progressive to be able to put all these things together. And I can only see really good benefit because you just naturally were that way too. Like we didn't have anything, but you were that source of that for us just spontaneously by being yourself.
Are
So
you sure it wasn't the breakdancing? Because I really feel like it was the
we did
breakdancing,
have
but
lots.
that was so silly.
Okay, because I know our team is going to watch this, I just want to say how important those women are still.
Yes.
There's, I'm going to make a crazy statement that I think that volleyball, and PS, in my mediumship group,
Mhm.
there's a freakishly high number of people who either played or coached volleyball. Is that odd?
That's kismet right there. Yeah.
What is the high percentage thing? But
Mhm.
when I was thinking about you and like, is it almost like a metaphor for spirit? Because you think about the sisterhood, right?
Mhm.
Like the whole point is you got to keep the ball off the floor, but it goes beyond that, right? You cannot, it's not one person, there's six of us. And
Mhm.
you kind of like unify, you become a sisterhood that works towards a common goal.
Mhm.
And it's not like competitive in the way that like, oh, she's getting like in basketball, how you can always pass it to the one person or whatever. It's like,
Mhm.
no, we don't know where the ball is going to go. And we all trust each other to work as one and we celebrate each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's something about that now, that oneness that is coming into the world that I feel, and the resiliency of it, right? We
Yeah.
fell on our asses 100,000 times a day. It's like, just get up. And it's not even in my brain to not get up. You just get
Right.
up. The ball hits you in the face. We all laugh for a second. And it's like, go do your job thing.
Yeah.
Like go
Yeah.
run around like a maniac. So I don't know. Is that crazy to make that connection? Or
No,
that?
it's beautiful, Danra, because it's like how community is meant to be. It's how humans are meant to be. We're all meant to be in communion with each other, helping each other out. And I think part of our, I'm going to say, I think a part of our practice is helping people to recognize their own gifts, and that
Yeah.
what we're doing is just becoming more human.
Hmm.
This is the way humans have always been, but we've been so detached from that in our concreteness of work and computers and whatever it is that is a hustle, takes us away from our humanness sometimes. And I think that's what we're called to do, is bring people back to that unity, to that community.
Yeah. And the divine feminine is popping
Oh,
off right now.
yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big
Yes.
shift. And I have to say, I don't know if you feel this way, but I think we've spent a lot of time in the masculine, right? Like Dartmouth was pretty conservative. It used to be an all male school. It wasn't that bad when we were there.
Mhm.
It was almost the year when it was 50-50. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Enrollment it was like not long after that. So it wasn't as stark, but it was certainly a conservative town. And, you know, people weren't, coming out easily or
Mhm.
all kinds of
Yeah.
things that were still hush hush that now, we can just speak freely about. So I know times have changed, but yeah, we were kind of, and when you're at an institution like that, there's a big drive to succeed. Like people running around and like you throw a stick and you hit a valedictorian, right? It's just like
Yeah, you're like,
we're all just like, how do you compete with these
yeah.
brains and these talented
Mhm.
people? And I don't know, it's very easy to get sucked into that, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to finally pull away and just be
Mhm.
relaxed and like, oh, I'm just going to receive, and I'm going to
Mhm.
put some paint on a paper and just be
Yeah.
happy about that and sit with my feet in the grass and then
Mhm.
think about 100 things. That's
Yeah.
very difficult, actually. How do you manage that, like being in both worlds?
Yeah. Deandra, you're bringing up so many like memories around kind of like the anxiety that it produces to try to compete with people who are also trying to compete. I didn't know what I was stepping into when I went to Dartmouth. What I found was like a ton of like super creative people like, and I think part of that was because we were on a team and we
Yeah.
got to see the realness and the brilliance of of our teammates, right?
Mhm.
And I think because of the amount of time that we spent, that to me was like it was inspiring. The part of the hustle for me was like, how am I gonna succeed in this school? Like, can I make it? Right? Like
Mhm.
working, being an athlete, and then just, trying to get as best grades as possible, and trying to figure out like what the map was. And maybe without having had a lot of resources or understanding of that. But what a gift it would be, and perhaps our coaches and just each other was the gift. But if there were people who could allow for kind of the fullness of themselves starting to come through as they cross that threshold of like coming in from high school into college. And so I do think that I wonder how much Dartmouth has changed and how much with a woman president at the helm, and
Mhm.
if that spirit of like, hey, we're selecting very creative people who are going to do this incredible work, in the world in their own way. I'm really hoping that that's the case. But while I was there, for sure, the masculine presence of succeed and drive was there. I don't know if that ever goes away, but I have to tell you that I think, in my experiences working at other institutions, I think I had to step away from that mentality because
Mhm.
I could feel it, being completely oppositional to the way I grew up and to kind of the essence of maybe part of my heritage here in New Mexico. And not that people, there's a whole machismo thing, and maybe I'm going into this a little bit too much, but there's like I think there is kind of going back to that idea that community is more important than the individual itself is still a part of the value that runs through. So anytime that I was getting hyped up about something, like my mom or dad would always be like, but you can quit. Like, why are you doing that? Like, you could always come home. Like,
Mhm.
why are you trying so hard? Right. If you
Mhm.
just keep on hitting up against a brick wall. So I think having those messages of like, it doesn't, like you're fine no matter what, I think were really helpful. And I think that came from some of the values within the family. Um, I'm also leaving a business school environment. And
Yeah.
I think I really struggled in that because and I'm going into some of the healing work that I've done now, but like I'm in a business school and it is very masculine and it is about and not always about individualism. I think business schools are changing. Um, but that sense of who I am and how I show up versus the masculine was completely at odds.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
was trying to build something from a feminine perspective that was not understood. And
Yeah.
I think it was doing a little bit of harm. So stepping away from it, I see the value in it and how we need to keep showing up in these spaces, because it's incredibly important for the legacy of people who want to step into business and become entrepreneurs or help shift organizations. But it's also equally important for people to recognize whether there is space and resources for that to thrive.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think people get a misconception that you have we're it's to eliminate,
Mm-hmm.
let's like down with the patriarchy type stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
no,
No.
they have to be there for each other. Like that
Yes.
duality exists, and it's more about the balance of it. So that took me a while to like recognize and figure out how to do. But so do you want to talk a little bit more about like the Suzanne Geisman thing or the Lily
Yeah.
Dale, or like, because that felt like it was kind of a pivotal change point for you too, or
Mhm. Oh, yeah, let's talk about
over
that.
extending that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, I think one of the sweetest moments was when you reached out to me and you were like, "Oh my goodness, I have to tell you about what's going on." And we had this conversation about Suzanne Giesemann and your mediumship and like being able to like better communicate with, the other side. And it kind of inspired and kind of clicked something within me to be like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot that this was there. I forgot about this," and share a little bit more. I can feel something coming from you.
No, I just want to say that what a gift to have a friend like you, because we barely, hang out, but when we do, it's like, oh, friend, we have been friends forever, and it'll just like be so easy. We pick right
Mhm.
back up. But when it comes to something like this, because again, yeah, I was a job that does not talk about woo woo things at all, like
Mhm.
scientist kind of brain. And who the hell am I going to talk to about
Mhm.
seeing what I was seeing? And it was you. So I want to say thank you for that. And for, of course, the synchronicity that happened with that. Is that what you were going to share?
Yeah, but yeah, go
Yeah,
for
you
it.
go for it. You go for it.
Oh my gosh. Well, it was just at a moment where things were lining up and I was starting to receive again, and I don't know if it was the space or the environment, but I can't Dana, you're gonna have to help me with the synchronicity piece
Okay.
because I think it was that we were gonna, I wanted to go to Lilydale, and I had been thinking about going to Lilydale, and there was, like, I think I had, I don't know if I was already, like, planning to go there, I'd been talking about it, and then you went back and said, "Guess who's coming to Lilydale?" And it was Suzanne Giesemann, the woman who you had been like
Yes.
reading about and stuff like that. And so it was only a 2-hour trip for me, to get there, and it's a mediumship community hidden away in, like, just across the Pennsylvania border in New York, and so it was, like, miraculous that this person that Danra really want oh, sorry, I'm asking as if you're not right here, that you really wanted to see, like, yeah, you, Danra, really wanted to connect with, and, oh my gosh, are you gonna talk about the meeting with her as well?
The
And
meeting, like what I gave her the gift.
yes, beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So that was one of the first of 5,000 synchronicities. So if you go onto my YouTube thing, there's an interview with Diane that I made a whole PowerPoint because it was so
Okay,
confusing. Like how many synchronicities had to happen for all of us to be there. So there was 5 of us for my circle.
that's right.
You, my friend Ashley, and Diane and Nicole and me. So man, Suzanne Geisman was like the center point of the entire universe.
Yeah.
Honestly, like so many things have come from spirit telling us to go there. But yeah, you're just like casually like, oh, hey, have you ever been to Lilydale? I'm like, that sounds interesting. Maybe someday. Literally, like hours later, they're like, oh, Suzanne Geisman is showing Wolf's message in Lilydale. I'm like, I called you back like the same day. I don't even know. Like, oh, I guess we're going to Lilydale.
Yeah.
Okay. And like a psychopath, for some reason, I felt called to give her a gift because when you have mentors and there's people that like,
Yeah.
she was the one who got me to understand that you can become a medium later in life, and I just valued her integrity. She's like a Navy commander, and this woman she opened the door in a way that allowed me
Yeah.
to walk through it, and so I made this like painting essentially of a lightning bolt because that's how her stepdaughter died. And then the wolf's message was about a man with schizophrenia who had been hit by a lightning bolt. So anyway, very nerve wracking. And she was very kind. She said she would treasure it. And I was like, that's fine with me. but I like that energetic exchange, right? Because she's giving out to us.
Mhm.
You watched the movie with me, and I don't know, after that, you decided to come actually go to her workshop. So
Mhm.
that was our series of
Yeah.
meetings. But so what stood out to you from the actual meetings? Like, was that another pivotal point for you? I just like hanging out with you, but
I think that's what it was, Tanra. I think it was, I think being around you and at Omega, the other big thing about going to the training there is that since I was in my 20s, I used to look at Omega catalogs when they came in paper form, and I would just be like, "Oh, one day, like maybe I'll be able to go there." And I've lived quite close to there a lot of my life, but
Mhm,
never once thought that I would go there. And here I am with you being at a place that was kind of inspired, over 20 years ago, was also feeling a little bit miraculous for
mhm,
me in coming to that point. And I think being with you and your enthusiasm for this was really affirming that, like, oh, this is something that, like, this is a good thing, and this is work that you can do. And I think being around, watching Suzanne Giesman, who also had that major shift in her career and in
yep,
her life, and understanding that, like, her integrity and the work that she had done in the Navy before, and
mhm,
then this sudden shift, I thought, "Oh, like, this is possible. Like, people do this. Like, this is a real thing." And to watch and witness how many people she has helped was super
mhm,
inspiring.
mhm.
So I think, your enthusiasm was incredibly affirming, and
Okay.
also being around somebody who has made that shift,
Yeah,
and what to know that it's real, like, it is real. And even though I may have known that, again, the repeated affirmations of people doing this work and watching the healing was really quite amazing. So,
yeah, and our other friend Ashley, or my friend Ashley,
yes.
she had, her son crossed the veil by suicide,
Yeah.
so that was very important to her to know that she could connect with the other side, and she got to be in a picture with Suzanne, like,
Oh,
right
oh,
next to her,
yes,
and she
yes.
asked the question, and I was like, "Oh my god, she talked to Suzanne."
I know.
She has, like, celebrity status for us, but, yeah, she was very down to earth and a good gateway person,
Yeah.
right? I think she intentionally stays away from talking about, like, galactic stuff or things where, skeptics will just tune out and be like, "I'm
Yeah.
not gonna talk about a fairy," or and meanwhile, now I believe all of that shit, like,
Same.
it's just like, "You can tell me anything." I'm like, "Uh-huh, that's
Yeah.
plausible. Anything's but you can't disprove it to me, so
Right.
till then, I'm gonna keep my mind open."
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree.
So you talked about your guides before. Do you
Oh,
have
yeah.
a strong who's your main guide, Maria?
Oh my goodness. I was raised Catholic,
Mhm,
and Jesus is my main guide, and I feel like really it's almost like it's a little, I don't want it to ever feel like contrite, because the amount of energy and the amount, that he holds is I can't even express what it is, and he has shared with me that I get to see, like, this much of it,
mhm.
because if I actually saw his fullness, that I wouldn't, like, energetically be able to hold it, right?
Yeah,
So
you
it's,
disintegrate.
yeah, I would be like, yeah, that'd be it for me, basically. Um, and the other Marys in his life, Our Lady of Guadalupe and the Virgin Mother and Mary Magdalene. And then, there are other helping spirits, who I've been introduced to, that have different pieces of medicine that they share with me. And
Mhm,
like Skywalker, who is shares that dance and physical movement help me to really share, goodwill energy out. And I think about the psychopomp allies, who are, like archangels, and also like the raven, right? And
mhm.
panther, and kind of the energy of these beings who have very specific medicine. And it's not just for me. That's the whole piece. Like, it's not just for me. Like, this is for everyone. everyone has access. And so it's just a matter of, getting to know them. And of course, there's our ancestors and our grandmothers and the ancient ones and people who have come before us that we may know their name, we may not know their names. People are, spirits that will never know their names, but they're there. And I do want to share something that I feel is really important to this conversation because it happened so long ago. But I remember being in this kind of meditation space, and I think that this is just an important story. This came before like the Archangel Michael piece. I was
Mhm.
just in meditation, and I used to see myself across a vast desert because of there's like that footsteps in the sand poem about
Yes.
Jesus. Like, you only see one set of footsteps and it's because he's carrying you. Okay. So I used to like in meditation to meet with Jesus in this desert. And sometimes he'd be carrying me, sometimes he'd be holding my hand, sometimes I'm 10-year-old, sometimes I'm a grown adult. Well, in this meditation, I'm a full grown adult and he's carrying me. And we kind of look at each other like, oh, should you really be carrying me right now? Like, I know I'm a big baby, but like, so he's like, no, like go run ahead. And so I just take off in like the fastest sprint ever. And then a thought crosses my mind, like, can I outrun him? Like, am I going to lose him if I outrun him? Right. And immediately he's right there. He's like, you can't outrun
Yeah.
me. Like, I'm here. Like, sorry, sweetie. And so I keep on running and I come up against this dark wall. And I'm just going to say it's a darkness. And there's like these oogly boolies coming out. And I feel a sense of fear, kind of the fear that I had when I was a child, just awful. And he says, just observe it. Fear is something that you observe. You don't absorb it. You just watch it.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting with the fear, watching it, and still not able to get rid of that deep anxiety and that fear. And I tell him, I can't do this. Like, this is too scary for me.
Yeah.
And he says, okay, well, I just want you to take a look behind you first, and let's take a look. So I turn around, and there's like the entire desert is filled with like, I see like the Master Buddha. I see,
Mm.
all the angels and saints. I see like light beings and they're spread out throughout the desert. I'm like, wow. And he goes, that's who has your back.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
said, so pay attention and keep on observing. So with that, that is for all of us. All of us have that level of protection. And, I walked away from that just ultimately seeing that curtain or that darkness dissolve, and just feeling a really sense of peacefulness, and knowing that. And so when that feeling comes up again, I just lean into that love that's there.
Yeah, that sense of not being alone is pretty huge,
Mhm.
right? You think that you're kind of in this human experience because Earth School's hard, right? It's on purpose hard.
So
They're
hard.
like, your soul agreed to go through some shit, and here it is. But just so you know, we're not abandoning
Yeah.
you. You know,
Yeah.
we wanted this lesson, so we're gonna, kind of stand to the side to let you do some stuff that might not be your favorite thing, and all of it is filled with love. I mean,
Mhm.
Jesus is we were just talking about him. I just did an interview with somebody on Monday and I
Oh,
said, "Yeah, he's got really green eyes for some reason." And she said that when she sees green eyes like that, it's that they've been dead for a long time. So I
oh,
didn't
wow.
have heard that. But Jesus is such a brother, right? Like he's so friendly. Like, of course, this is like, how can you describe? I'm trying to find better human words, but he's just so chill. I don't know how to
Yes.
like. He's just like he's always on a bench for me, and he's just like, hey, come sit down.
Yeah.
He'll pick me up sometimes too, like a big baby,
Yeah.
like a big ostrich baby.
I know. I'm like, oh.
How's he doing this? But yeah, sometimes you just need that warm, comforting, like
Yeah.
universal love type feeling, and he's just so free with it and like not casual, but it's just so easy.
Yeah.
I don't know how there's like a heaviness to other
Yeah.
deities and things. He's
Mhm.
just very accessible. I don't
Oh,
know how else to say it.
no, I agree, Danner. He's like the coolest dude ever. And I call him the big JC often because he just feels like the coolest guy on the planet or in the cosmos. I'm like, you're cool. I'm so lucky.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was thinking of some of the people, because that must be like a rite of passage when you did your shamanism. Did they talk
Mhm.
about that, like facing fear and like sending love to it, or like observing it neutrally? Because
Um,
yeah,
oh yeah, tell me more.
no, I just learned from some shaman friends that so Sekhmet came to me. I've got a lot of Egyptian ladies who were kind of scary, like, no, just their power is so intense that it's like, what do you want me to do with this?
Mhm.
I'm just going to go
Yeah.
hide in the corner. And uh, no, they pick us because our energy apparently
Mm,
matches them. And it's like
yeah.
the work is to build up your own self-worthiness to like accept it and stand in it.
Mhm.
Anyway, I told them that Sekhmet, so like my skin fell off into a little pile, and then I popped out as a light being. And then Sekhmet, who's a lion, she went over and just went. She ate she like ravaged my skin, and so I told my friends like that can't be good, right? They're like, oh, that's an honor. That's a
Yeah.
shamanism like disembodiment
Like
ceremony or
disembodiment. Yeah.
embodiment. And so basically she's saying you don't need that old stuff anymore. It's not serving you
Mhm.
to step into your new
Yeah.
self. So that's what I was wondering, if there was like a similarity to like Jesus walking
Mhm.
up to that wall. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to be afraid of it. You can just
Mhm.
shed what you don't need and just look at it like not a big deal, because you know that you're a light body. I don't.
Yeah, no, I love this. Yeah, I'm piecing together where that's come through, and I think it's been working with um what we call like suffering beings. So all of us, like humans, suffer. When we pass on, there can be suffering if there's this concept of a good death, right? Like all of your affairs are in order, you're ready to go and cross
Mhm.
the threshold, and you have your allies with you to do that. Like so many stay because they feel like they're here to help others, or maybe they haven't gotten some things in order, and
Yeah.
so they stay. And so for me, a lot of maybe the suffering beings have appeared to be in a like a form that seems scary to me, or entities that are not, that could be thought forms, like a ruminating thought that isn't actually serving you, could be kind of that negativity. And so those things I was afraid of and would want to just be like, ah, nope, not going to do it, like look away, like this isn't for me. Now I'm understanding, I think this is relating and aligning up with what you were talking about,
Mhm.
is that now it's like seeing them with compassion, right? And not necessarily always taking on the work that needs to be done for them to cross or for them to adjust or transmute, transform, but just to see them through that lens of love, right? And to
Yeah.
have some compassion. So that's been really interesting. That creates a little bit less fear for sure.
Yeah, which is what the world needs now,
Needs now.
like,
Yes.
because right now there's a lot of this and separation and all that garbage. It's gonna get
Yeah.
unraveled, but, in
Yeah.
many ways, that's the key. It feels like,
Yeah.
instead of seeing, like, this is somebody that you hate or that is
Mhm.
different from you to a point that you just reject them, and
Yeah.
that doesn't mean, like, oh, it's okay for people to just rampantly murder people and stuff like that.
Mhm.
If you add hate to that, then you're just piling on an already low vibe kind of situation. And
Oh,
like, how to set boundaries and like hold the love for the people that need it.
yeah.
How that's been a tough part of this whole learning process too. Like,
It
yeah, your soul
is.
plan, like, oh, I
Yeah.
came here to get all this shit thrown on me, and then this person,
Yeah.
loses a little kiddo, and it's like, how do you
Yeah.
handle that? There's a lot of tough stuff there, but
Mhm.
um yeah,
Yeah.
back
I
to love does seem to help.
yeah, I have a question for you. In thinking about what you're talking about just around like the density of today. Not that it necessarily has to be the density of the day, but all the things that are happening in the world. And we know that there's a big shift taking place. And like, I guess I mean, a year ago, would you have seen this time differently than you're seeing it now? And I ask that because I'm even in starting this shamanic practitioner work, like I'm definitely seeing things much different. So I'm really curious to hear how like you a year and a half ago before all of this would have seen it, and now kind of what is your perspective?
Yeah, that was the time when it was the most divisive for me, is when
Mhm.
the signs came in and like interjected Suzanne Giesemann in. So I think it was right after the election and it felt very divisive and I just was scared for everybody. And I started to have feelings of actual hate for people who, had certain
Mhm.
ideas. And that's
Yeah.
just the same thing that I just described. Like, well, now I'm just playing
Mhm.
to the whole beast that is not helping anybody. And then Suzanne Giesemann's podcast literally came on my car and I couldn't turn it off. Like, first of all, I
Mhm.
didn't pick it and then it was on and it wouldn't go away. And the
Yeah.
messaging there kind of went in and I just flipped, like I
Mm.
realized, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if I really want to serve and be a healer and, be of some
Mhm.
value to other humans, I can't hold that and have that mindset for it to be successful. So like that yeah, flipping to love and having an
Mhm.
open mind about certain things while still having boundaries around, what is
Mhm.
acceptable, standing up and advocating,
Yeah.
sending love to people. I did a bunch of distance Reiki once I
Mhm.
learned to whole groups of people,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, so honestly, I'm still navigating that. Is that also tricky for you? Like,
Oh, yeah, because part of me wants to be, like, in the fight, right?
yeah,
And I think that yeah, so I think I'm still navigating that too, like, I don't have, I think my new perspective is about love and trying to offer love, and just if I can be the brightest that I can be and give space for that, maybe just in being, it can alleviate some of the stress in others, right? Like,
yes,
just by being. But it's tricky because that part of me that's like, all right, let's go. Let's fight the oppression, let's keep
yes.
going. Like, there's that part of me, but I wanted to come from a place of love and goodness versus like that really heavy stuff that can derail and burn you out and all that other.
Yeah. So I heard that the highest frequency actually isn't love, it's authenticity.
Oh.
So I think there's a lot of people really saying, like, if you really want to fight this fight, then put paint on a paper if you want
Mhm.
to,
Yeah.
if you have an idea in your head. And like I was saying, like, put your hands in
Mhm.
the mud and do something
Yeah.
silly, like find your childlike joy and start to
Yes.
shed all of that. I have to do this. I have to do this. And
Yeah.
the rigidity of structure needs to
Mm.
kind of fall away so that you can just step out and just, I think it helps
Mhm.
perimenopausal because like I just
Oh.
hit the second stage pretty hard.
Same.
I think there's like a whole
Yeah.
surge, whole millions of perimenopausal people who are just like, I have had fucking enough of this.
Yeah, this is enough of this shit. Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna be my full self and wear the stupid
Yeah.
pants. And I don't,
Mhm.
our priorities have shifted. But yeah, the authenticity thing, that is the ultimate weapon. Like joy, laughing, dancing,
Yeah.
creativity, fun. And it doesn't feel like it, but it certainly is because it
Mhm.
raises the vibration. The lower vibration can't
Yeah.
even exist once the vibration is high enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how I try.
Yay.
Ugh. So, do you want to do a little speed round?
Oh, let's do speed round. Yeah.
Speed round, speed round. You actually answered some of these, but I'm going to still do them
Okay.
all. So,
Okay.
show me because you had chonkies in your hands before. Your go-to crystals.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so I have tourmaline here.
Yeah.
And this really kind of absorbs any negativity. So sometimes I'll hold it in my hand, or sometimes I sleep with it by my bed often. And then I have selenite, which can be used for kind of auric cleansing instead of sage. So you can just kind of like move it around and kind of, do a little cleansing. It's really good in front of electronics. So those are the main ones. And then I also have like prayer cards here. And this is the prayer of
Mhm.
Saint Francis. And so this is something that I have by my bed. And then I'm really now into this Agua de Florida, which is shared with
Oh,
me, but it smells so wonderful. And I can use it to cleanse crystals, but I sometimes just like to sprinkle it on my face, just to smell the essence of it. It's really beautiful. And there's probably many more properties to it that I don't know. And those are the main stuff.
I love that. And this is what we both bought a
Oh
glacier
my
when we
gosh,
were in
those,
Lilydale. And
yes.
this is my favorite one for when we're doing mediumship. It just really has a lot of energy in it for being a small little dude. He's a
It's
small
so
little dude.
great.
Yeah.
I am kind of sad that all of my crystals are in storage somewhere in Cleveland,
Oh.
but they will be resurrected at some point. So,
Mm-hmm. And I have to say thank you because you bought my first ever tarot deck for me. So what is your favorite tarot?
okay. I really will go with the Rider Waite Tarot, only because it's what I learned on and it's the one that I probably know the best. It can sometimes carry a lot of heaviness with it, but I do my best to do a little cleansing with it. So,
Yeah, so for people who aren't tarot people, that's the original.
oh
It's
yeah.
the
Oh
original,
yeah.
like the classic kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you did one reading for me, there was like 13 cards or something. I was like, what the hell are you
I
doing?
know. You're like, what is all this stuff?
But it was actually really accurate, in terms of, wow, it's going into very fine detail here.
It's-
I was impressed. Okay, would you rather coach or play volleyball?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I would say right now, I would rather play.
Hmm.
There is such joy in playing, and I feel like my like many inner children just are available and present when I play. So it just feels so good. So whether it's the beer leagues or like a
Yeah,
really good pepper,
yeah.
which now after like 3 rounds, for those of you who don't know about peppering, it's literally just hitting the ball back and forth to each other. But I'm out of breath after like the third one, honestly. I'm like, time out.
If my arm goes like this, I'm going to ruin my back. So I am like out of this conversation, but I love that you can still do it. And we used to play after graduating, we were in some
Yes.
little league. And all I remember is that Maria's got the meanest serve on earth.
Oh
Sometimes
my gosh.
you like hit it and it goes katonk, like you think it's going to go past the back line and then it like, I don't know, you put spin on it or something,
I
right?
don't even know. It's so yeah, I don't even know about that anymore. I'm lucky if I get it over the net now.
All right, so I was going to ask about animals you're connected to, and you talked
Oh,
about ravens and panthers, right? Are those
yeah.
your two?
Well, okay, so when I first did like the weekend kind of training, we met our power animal or our spirit animal, and it came through as a swan, and I was like, that's interesting.
They,
And so I learned about its medicine and it was about mirroring, like it's a mirror for others. And I thought, oh,
uh,
that's interesting. But since then, like stags have been really important. There are like panther medicine is a part of kind of a lineage of medicine that comes through, and then ravens. But there's like when animals come through, like it's really interesting to better understand their, what they symbolize traditionally, but also like what they share with you through the
yep.
meditation and through the session or through the dream or however they show up.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, it's really interesting because they can share some things that are just really beyond. I had a session with somebody and a shrimp came through.
Okay.
And they were like, "This is really weird. Like, I don't know. I'm just seeing a shrimp."
See
I
how
know. I was
this
just
little
like,
way.
yeah, yeah. And so we were both kind of like, "Oh, I wonder what the medicine is." And the medicine came through that was absolutely both timely and appropriate for this person.
Mhm.
And so, yeah. So get quiet about the animals. What about for you?
Yeah, those are some of my favorite tarot decks are the animal ones. There's one with the stag on it that's really good. I'll
Yeah.
send it to you, but it's not in my house right now. I mean, I had that whole owl bear story. Do you remember
Oh, yeah, that's
like where that
gorgeous.
owl kind of soul gazed me, and then it had led to
Yes.
these synchronicities, which is what basically was my evidence that Jesus had walked with me.
Mhm.
So anyway, Spirit really set that up. There's a whole
Yeah.
we have a whole video talking about that whole thing.
Aw.
But the other day, I was soul gazing a little chipmunk here, and I had to take video of it because it just kept staring at me. And then I would come out, and then it would go away and come back and stare at me. And I talked to a bird yesterday
I
too.
love it. What'd they say?
Well, see, they're eating the food right now. I see two of them, but
Mhm.
there was like 13. And when we're sitting out
Mm.
there, they don't like humans around. So this
Mhm.
one kind of flew, and I was like, just sending it telepathy, like, hey,
Mhm.
little
Yeah.
guy, if you want to come over here and get a snack, I'm not going to hurt you. And he flew over and then stared at me and like did this whole cocked, instead of eating, he stared at me and I just kept talking to him in my head, like, hey, yeah,
Yeah.
are you trying to tell me something? Do you have a good nest? Where do you guys live?
Yeah.
We just
Yeah. The best.
yeah. But also otters.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
What is your geographical home? I think I would guess this. Could be where you are right now. Because I know you've lived a lot of places, so I want
Mhm.
which place feels like it's the vortex for you.
Yeah. I'm feeling really good right here in the sunshine of New Mexico and like strangely good. Like very much coming back into myself. And I I I believe this is my home and my roots, so this is always going to be that for me.
Mhm.
But I really see myself traveling. Like as long as there's a great airport someplace, I will be traveling to do some work. But New Mexico feels like home. Yeah, it's just where I'm from. It's like the land.
Do you want to go to Egypt with me?
Oh yeah, 100%. That'd be great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Because I'm
Yes, that
too
sounds
afraid to
great.
go by myself, and I think, well, no, actually, Phil would be interested in going too. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, those ladies are calling to me. Those
Oh, I'm
the
down.
Sekhmets, she ripped my head off, and now I want to go
Yeah.
see her in real life.
Yeah. No, I'd be down. Yeah. Egypt has always been a place. Mhm.
Guilty pleasures, spiritual or otherwise.
Oh gosh, Danra, let's get real here. Um, guilty pleasures. So, you know, can I just say Netflix is probably the guiltiest pleasure? There's something about, and I think especially during times of burnout, like just cozying up to like a series that you know and love. Like I love Schitt's Creek, Ted Lasso, like Bring It On. That
Oh
would
my
be
God,
guilty pleasure.
you are Ted Lasso. I was going to say that,
Oh my
when they were talking about our Dartmouth team. I was like, Maria needs to get in there and Ted Lasso that shit. It is exactly who you are. You would just like
God.
get in there and suddenly everybody, it would all work out,
Oh
you
my
know?
God. You know what? And during that time, I don't see myself that way, but it's so wonderful to hear this feedback. Yeah, it's really sweet.
Of course, you're just naturally that way. Yeah, we like watching Traders,
Oh,
Traders is so good.
do I need to get on that? Okay, I'm gonna get on that
Yeah,
train.
get on it. Alan Cummings is the American one, and then there's the
Oh my
British
God.
one. There's a
Okay.
Australian one. It's very psychologically, for a psychology person, you're like, oh, the
Totally.
dynamics here are like crazy. What are you reading right now? Are you
Oh my
reading?
gosh. Yeah, I'm reading Megan Watterson's book about Mary Magdalene Revealed. Um,
Ooh,
ooh, yeah, I'll show you the. Let me just reach over here and grab it. Yeah, so it's she is
oh,
yeah, it's really beautiful. And I'm reading it in a group of women who are all studying the feminine, the divine feminine. And so it's really about the gospel message that has been eliminated from our knowledge. And
mm,
it's her gospel. It is amazing. And it is really about the illuminated path, Damara. And I think that you would love it. So I'm going to send you I'll text you all the good stuff about
this is so funny because I'm reading the Sophia Code.
it.
Sophia is the divine feminine, and there's a Mary Magdalene chapter.
Okay.
So I'll recommend this to you, or I'll just give it to you the next
Yes.
time we see each other, which I don't know
You
when that
should.
will be, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Maybe June, maybe July.
That was all my speed round questions. You
Oh
did
my
it.
goodness. We did it.
I know. So let me put up here. What else would you like to share with people? So this is how
Oh,
people can get in touch with Maria because she's got all these
yeah.
innovative wellness. I can vouch for her. We played for a long time on the same team. She's outstanding. It's just in her nature.
Oh.
Alignment is clear. I spittled a little bit. I was so
That's okay.
excited.
I'd be so excited too. Thank you.
So what else would you like people to know about, like, has this transition happened? Where is it located? Or they can go
Oh,
on,
yeah.
like,
Yeah. Oh, okay. Danra, thanks for the plug. I really appreciate this. Yeah, just as I'm getting started. So, I will have a website up and running quite soon. But for now, if you just want to email me, if you'd like to do a session, we can talk through it. I would just say that most of my sessions are taking place virtually right now. I am seeing some people in person who are within the New Mexico sphere. So if you're in New Mexico, we could probably make that happen. But yeah, for right now, we're just going to do things virtually.
awesome. And
Yeah.
oh my God, we might see each other in June, right? We don't know
June.
yet. Okay, because there's going to be a synergy of my new tribe soul group and you potentially. There's going to be some kind of explosion.
I cannot wait.
Like we
Fireworks,
cannot
fireworks,
handle.
fireworks.
Yes. Oh, truly, it will be very
Mhm.
exciting. So I'm so excited for that.
Me
Yay.
too.
All right, my dear, dear friend Maria, love
Oh,
you so much. I am sending
aw,
you the biggest of hugs, and let's do this more often because I miss you. Miss
I
you.
miss you too. I love you. Thank you so much, Danra.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
1,